knew going into the game it wasn't the greatest matchups for him. I thought he competed. I think the kind of flare triple that falls into the right center gap is a ball that gets caught a lot of times. And those first 3 runs that plate don't score, we make that play. I'm not saying that it was on Matt Caesar. Gave a great effort from where he was, but ball hung up a long time. I think that gets 3, and then you're only looking at the 2-run home run other than that. So, I think you look at the line, you think five runs and 5 1/3. It doesn't look as pretty, but really you make 1 catch behind him, and then it's 2 runs, and then he's still probably cruising later into the game. So I thought there was a few balls on the defensive side that we didn't come up with today that we could have come up with. Not from lack of effort or anything like that, just not great reads. And overall, I thought he was in battle mode all day and made some good pitches when he had to at times, and then made a couple mistakes.
Mauer different in non-save situations for you?
I think statistically, I haven't looked at it, but I'd say yeah. I would guess that there's a wide variance in those 2 situations. When he's coming in to close out a baseball game, I think really he's been very, very good. When he's coming into situations to keep a tie or even mop-up situations, I think in particular the one in Arizona where he gave up 5 consecutive hits and 4 runs scored on him, and it was a mop-up game at that point in time. I think he's had some adversity in those circumstances. What you pin that on, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. But he's pitched remarkably well in save situations, and I didn't think he was bad today. He's got the ball that Upton hits that we try to make a great play on. I think it's a great effort. Hits the glove, kicks out, single turns into a double, and now you're pitching radically differently. Made good pitches to Miguel Cabrera, gets the pop up on the slider. He kind of fights through that inning, and then he paints 99 out away on the corner, and he shoots it through the 4-hole. Probably in hindsight, you say, hey, go back to the changeup because it worked. His stuff was good today. I thought his composure, his mound presence, gave up a leadoff double, and then that thing scores 61% of the time in baseball, especially when you're talking about going through the teeth of that order right there. So it's tough bats he's facing at that point in time. So got to give some credit to them, but I think statistically, to your point, yeah, it's probably valid.
Do you feel like you're still waiting for Wil Myers to heat up, or is today a symbol that he's getting really close?
I think Will's still kind of, like I said about Clayton, kind of in battle mode, kind of fighting. Hasn't really found his groove. It's not bad. It's a fight. I mean, he squares up the hanging slider first pitch of the game for a home run, takes a walk. I think the rest of the game, he's got runners on second and third. I think the one thing we didn't do great today was hit with runners in scoring position, more or less with we had some ample opportunity to drive guys in with just a sac fly, ground ball through the infield. We didn't extend the lead when we had the chance. Then you're just begging for them to come back at that point in time. But in Will's case, he's get the guys on second and third, and then he approaches that at bat like he's going to get pitched around, which he probably is. But people make mistakes. We found that out ourselves. We're pitching in that 3-run inning where the triple fell from Matuk, and we're trying to execute pitches. We end up making a mistake to Iglesias with the pitcher on deck, and pitchers make mistakes. They're human beings. They get on the mound, they don't execute every single pitch. So I think Will has to be ready for that mistake. I think he was taking to the mindset, hey, he's not going to give me anything. There's the knowledge that you're going to get pitched around, but there's also the focus on the mistake pitch that you could still get, and you got to do damage on if you get. So I think that at-bat's probably explained that way. But in my mind with Will, he's fighting hard, squares up a ball for a home run, takes a walk. Those are good offensive days. But yeah, there's a groove that he hasn't gotten back into right now.
You kind of touched on this, but he's drawn a lot more walks recently, even before Solarte got hurt. What do you accredit that to?
He's starting to think through situations a little bit more, and as you think through situations, sometimes you get passive in the situations like today where you got the guys on second and third and 2 outs, and you know who you are in the lineup and what you're probably going to get. That's a good thought process, but that has to be a fine focus on the mistake pitch that you want if you get that. So I think he's getting a situational awareness that's going to be really good for him in the long run, and that's causing a lot of the walks, but to still maintain some sort of controlled aggression in those moments is pivotal for him to be an impact bat in the middle of the order consistently.
What are your thoughts on the bullpen as a whole this series outside that last inning?
It's been really good. That last inning, it is what it is. Like I said, a double falls in that was close to being caught, and then it changes the context of the inning. It's been really good. Craig Stammen has continued to be better and better every time out. Brad Hand gets everybody out. Phil Maton got through a really kind of dicey situation he put himself into in the big leagues and Kirby Yates comes and blows people over with fastball. So I get really confident in that group of guys, and sometimes that's why you go a little bit quicker to the pin, because there's a group of guys now, not just one or two. Before you're just looking at a short list, but Ryan Buchter's throwing the ball really well lately. So you got a couple lefties in Hand and Buchter, a couple righties, and should go the other way, a couple righties in Yates and Maton, and then at the back end you got Mauer. So you got options, and it's played very well for us here recently.
Looking at the way Maton has thrown the ball and him getting himself out of that situation today, do you anticipate him getting shots at the ninth inning anytime soon?
I don't have anything forecast like that at this point in time. That's not to say that I don't think he can do it. I do think he can do it, and I do think that it's well within reason that at some point in time in the future that time arrives. It's not in the short term in my mind right now. I think like in those situations, as we talked about, Brandon Mauer's done very well in save situations. Maton saved a game in Milwaukee, I believe, where he comes in extra innings and looks very comfortable. Stress doesn't seem to bother him on the baseball field. So it's good things to see in a very young guy, but he's been very good very quickly.
And that was a good outing for him today to come back after giving up the inherited runner last night, to be able to come back and punch out some guys today.
Yeah, we can run through that inherited runner yesterday. I mean, he gets a check swing from Romine yesterday. Literally, the bat's 2 feet out in front of the home plate. I mean, it's a check swing. It changed the whole context of the at-bat. He probably punches him at that point in time. It's a missed call, and then he singles up the middle on a ground ball. Like to me, he gets a nubber from Castellanos, and then he gets a check swing that changes the context of the at-bat. Then he gets out of the inning. Gets out of a very tough first and third situation without giving up any more damage. He actually impressed me in that situation, because there's a lot of young guys. You get the nubber, you miss the call on the check swing, you give up the single, and the wheels fall off. They didn't. He kept it all together. Really nice job.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, you don't get many days at home that are off in the middle of a homestand throughout the season. What do you do? Do you decompress, not think about baseball? What's your plan for tomorrow?
There's always prep for the next series. Every day off that appears is on the calendar is not really completely a day off, but we'll get some time with the family.